We're here at DelFest with the Price Sisters, and for those who aren't familiar with the Price Sisters, they are the history-making sisters who are the first instructors at DelFest who were formerly DelFest Academy students. But your connection, and they're also going to be playing here for the second year, your connection with the McCoury family goes beyond just having been DelFest Academy students. Tell us about a little bit about it. I know Jason produced your most recent album, Jason Carter.
Close. Jason is playing some fiddle on it with me, but Ronnie produced it.
Oh, Ronnie produced it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's okay.
But Ronnie played on your first album.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
And Alan as well.
Yes. Yeah. Alan and Ronnie were both part of our first release for Rebel Records in 2016.
Yeah.
We put out an EP, and Ronnie played guitar on that for us. And Alan came back and sang some harmony tracks on that record. So, and that was in 2016. So that was 3 years after we had been at the Academy, I guess.
Yeah.
We were here at the Academy as students in 2013. So we've kind of been, not to say we've followed them around, but we've been fans, for 12, 13 years, big fans.
Yeah.
And so we've kind of kept in touch, I guess, over the years as we've tried to do this for ourselves, too.
And in whatever capacity, whether or not we just came to see them at a concert and wanted to say hi, they always took the time to just be nice people, and it just, that goes further than we can ever say.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, we're not going to go into a whole lot of your background because I will post a link to the story I did when we talked back in 2018,
Okay. Oh, cool.
right, when
Yeah.
that first album was coming out.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about your career since then, and because it really has started to kind of take off for you, and you're playing big festivals like DelFest now and so forth. So, what's that been like?
Well, we've told people, I don't think you ever really planned to do this as a career, but I don't know, there's just something that gets inside of you and you just can't not do it. And you don't always know where what the next goal is per se. It's just pretty much anything you can do that seems like it'll get you further to where you want to be and progress is something that you just got to take the chance on. And
it seems almost like kind of around 2019, early 2020, we were able to get some momentum going with some different folks with IBMA and things like that. And
we hired our first full-time touring band in 2019.
Yeah.
We went on a month-long tour of Europe in that fall, which was great. And then, of course, COVID happened,
but we had a lot of things kind of roll over from that, which was nice. And we're getting ready to record another project for the first time in a couple of years. And it had always been something that we had thought would be just amazing if maybe Ronnie would ever consider being a producer for that.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. We started recording late 2021.
We finished it up 21 and 22. And now since this winter, we've been working on the behind the scenes stuff, but we're just so proud to say that Ronnie produced that for us, but it will actually be coming out on the McCoury Music label as well. Is when we get to release that later this year. So
Now you're talking about a third album?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the process behind that, how much of that was a lot of that writing during the COVID?
Not really.
No?
It kind of really started in 2021. They did DelFest Light at B Court Brewing in Virginia, and we were able to play that as well. And kind of after that point, we really started talking with Ronnie a lot about a project together.
And we had so the material in the project, we had probably half of it worked up as some stuff that we would perform on our sets already, and then Leanna and I each wrote an instrumental for the project, which is actually the first time we've ever done that. So that was exciting. And then about the other half of material are things that Ronnie suggested to us. And I think I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's a nice mix of some different sounds and different styles, but it all goes together, I think, just as well.
We're really excited for everyone to hear it.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about back in 2018 was how much being twins and that being together all the time and in college and everything, and how that had influenced your music. And now, not to sound like the old father that I am, but the little girls are all grown up, and one of you's married, one of you's living in Nashville now, and so life has changed quite a bit. How has that impacted you musically?
Well, I mean, Leanna's in Music City, so I think that's great, which I won't speak for your job there or anything, but
I work part-time at the violin shop in Nashville. I've been there for 2.5 years, apprenticing on setup and repair and everything like that.
But I think we've just really become more involved in the scene
in
general
overall.
with that, you know. I drive back and forth a lot. My husband, Scott Napier, is a fantastic musician as well, and so we're just all kind of, you know, trying to stay involved in that circle.
Different facets of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being in Nashville, how has that been? I mean, is there a lot of behind-the-scenes music that you're a part of? That,
There's a lot. I've been able to, I mean, I have a lot of friends there at this point that I've been able to do things with over time, but it was super intimidating kind of. I mean, and part of that's just my personality, but moving there to begin with, but what really is, I've found is that, you know, there's so much music there and there's so many people there that there are always opportunities. There's something every night, you know. So it's not as competitive as what it. I mean, it is competitive, but in a different way. It's not quite as competitive as it seemed. We're all in this together, you know.
Well, and talking about Nashville and intimidating, you young ladies have been popping up on the biggest stage in Nashville quite regularly, it seems. You know, often with Bobby Osborne. Sitting in with him and playing with him. What has that been like, that experience?
That has just been, I mean, a dream come true too, in a lot of other ways. We've known Bobby now for several years through my brother-in-law Scott, Lauren's husband, and we met. That's how we met originally. But
and didn't Lauren played his F4 on?
Yeah. I played his
on the first album. He lent it to you, didn't he?
On our second project for Rebel. He lent me his Lloyd Lohr mandolin to play on an instrumental, which was.
And he let me borrow one of Kenny Baker's fiddles that he owns as well for that same project.
Just very, very
grateful.
Yeah, it was super meaningful.
And Bobby's son, Bobby Jr., has played bass with us full time since 2019. Yeah. And so in the fall of 2021, the Rocky Top Express, Bobby's band, had a show booked out in Oklahoma, and they asked if I wanted to come along and play fiddle, and since then I've been able to do a lot with them too. So.
And that's got to be just an amazing experience to, just like this, getting on this stage with the McCourys and then with Bobby Osborne and so forth. Growing up in the countryside in Ohio, did you dream that would happen, or?
We dreamed that it could happen, but I don't know if we.
I actually was thinking just last night because Lauren taught the academy last year, and then this was my first year to do that, and all of the other things that we've been fortunate enough to get to do. I was just thinking back last night over the academy in particular, and then this weekend playing DelFest for the second time, and 16-year-old Leanna would not believe this.
Yeah.
It's just, it's been great.
Yeah, we got to see the Del McCoury band 2 or 3 times when we were in high school in person, and our mom and dad decided that they would gift us tickets, if you will, to the academy for our high school graduation present. So it's just been really special.
Yeah.
Now, was that before? I remember you telling me about the Augusta Traditions Week being a big influence too.
That was, yes.
Was that before or after DelFest?
That was before.
Okay.
That was a couple years before.
Yeah.
We went there for the first time when we were about to turn 16, and after going to that camp and working with the teachers that we had that week, that's really honestly kind of what got us really hooked on this.
Yeah.
We'd been listening to Del for a little while at that point too, but
I don't think we took a super big interest in our instruments.
No, because we weren't around other people who did this either.
No, we didn't grow up in a bluegrass family band as a lot of kids do, and because there just wasn't really a whole lot of it around home. I mean, we were in rural Ohio, but
at that point we loved to listen to it, but didn't really have a strong desire to do it ourselves.
Yeah,
but
we went to Augusta Bluegrass Week.
Something changed.
And something changed. Yeah, we were hooked after the first couple days, and so at that point we started just
And by hooked, tell people how you learned to play a lot of the Bill Monroe licks on the mandolin?
Well, I didn't really know much about Bill Monroe or his music. When we were little, we've sang together since we were little. Our mom and dad both sing, but I think we had Blue Moon of Kentucky on like a country music greatest hits
Compilation or
CD
something.
compilation.
Yeah.
That's about it. But Mike Compton and Ronnie are my two biggest living mandolin influences, and they have been for years now. And that week at Augusta Bluegrass Week, Mike was my teacher there. And he was, working with us on Monroe material because he is so good at that, of course. And after that, I just kind of, it's like, okay, this is a sound on the mandolin that I really, really like. And I just started learning more about it. The very first break I think I tried to learn was Bill's kickoff to a song called The First Whippoorwill, which is a recording the song's in the key of G, but the recording ended up sounding in G sharp. And I didn't know at the time that would be possible. So, it was just a lot of listening to stuff like that, trying to figure out how this is done. And I don't know, just trying to make my hands match the sound that I'm hearing that I like to the best of my ability. A lot of stopping and starting.
And there was some
videos
video
and
involved
CDs
in
Yeah, YouTube was out at the time. We didn't have internet growing up, but whenever we could get, YouTube videos and things like that, now they have a way you can slow those down, which is great. They didn't have that when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of just, playing like a line at a time and trying to learn that piece
Yeah.
of it. And
Well, all that work has certainly paid off. I'm not surprised because I heard that first album back when we talked in 2018 when you were just getting out of college and just getting started. So none of this surprises me, but I also realize that you can have a ton of talent and it can still be very difficult to get those breaks. But you've worked so hard to get it, and like you've talked about, making the connections and so forth that have paid off for you. So
we appreciate that very much.
just really excited to see you guys continue and watch your musical careers continue to grow. And thanks so much for taking time with us here at DelFest.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
thank
Chris.
you, of course.
Absolutely.
The Price Sisters, thank you very much.
Yeah.